Hi everybody, and thanks for being here. So this is me. Fortunately for you, you get to look at this picture of me rather than me. This is what I usually look like, but I'm sure many of you can sympathize. I currently have a bad case of quarantine hair. So you are probably all at some stage of moving towards putting your content into DITA. And you know that there's some value to be had from DITA. And so going forward as you're authoring in DITA, you would expect that you should get some value from it. But you also have to get your legacy content into DITA as well. And you want to be able to do that and get the benefits of DITA from that legacy content without losing any of the work that you've already done. So it's pretty easy to convert things to DITA from your legacy formats so that you can publish to PDF and HTML, and your output's going to look just like what it currently looks like. So as far as that goes, you won't lose anything. But you may not get the benefits that you were hoping to either. So we need to find a way that it's possible to convert your legacy to content to DITA in a way that allows you to get the benefits of DITA and to be able to do it as quickly as you can. So some of the things that you've been promised are going to be of benefit when you move to DITA are the ability to do multi-channel publishing. So you're going to be able to publish to various different outputs in various different combinations. You're going to save money on the creation of your content. You're going to save big bucks on translation if you are a company that translates. You're going to accomplish these things with a shorter time to market, and you should find an easier time maintaining the existing content. Now, how does that work in DITA? Well, multi-channel publishing to a large extent is going to rely on content reuse. So you need to be able to take your content and reuse it in different places, and that's where topics come in to a large extent. And so we're able to publish different outputs in different formats because we've got it all in nice little chunks that we can assemble as we wish. Conditional text comes in very handy here. So you may have different requirements for the same content if it's print versus web, for example. There will be some things that you might want to include in the web-based content that you don't want to include in the print, and vice versa. Keys can be useful here as well. Information typing is important when it comes to multi-channel publishing. So knowing what type of information something is will enable you to put things together in a useful way. So it'll be easier to assemble a quick reference guide if you know which topics are reference topics, or put together a short document about a specific theme. It might have a concept at the beginning and then one or more tasks and end with some reference. Cost saving on your content creation. Well, obviously the idea is that we're going to write the content once and use it many times. Topics, you can use them in various different maps. One topic can be used in an assortment of maps. Conditional text allows an individual topic to be reused in different contexts according to the specific conditions of that document. And elements at various other levels besides just topics can be reused if you use conrefs. And cost saving on translation. Well, of course, some of the same arguments remain. Reusable content only needs to be translated once. So if there's a change in any of this, you only need to send away the particular topic or the particular element that needs to be translated. The only thing that's had the change in it needs to be translated again, not the whole document. So that can add up to a lot of money. Good semantic markup is important too, because there may be things in your content that should never be translated. Like code fragments or command names, things like that. If you have good semantic markup in your DITA, it's easy to mark those as things not to be translated. So the upkeep of your documents, how easy is that with DITA? Well, because you are reusing things, means that you need to update things only once. So when you need to update the date on a copyright, you do it once, and that happens everywhere, for example. Of course, you do need to make sure that your reusable content is findable. It's no good having something that can be reused if nobody knows where it is. And finally, you can also improve the user experience of your content from the advantages that you get with DITA. It can make it much easier for users to find the information that they're actually looking for without having to go through various different steps. Click here, click there to find what they're looking for. Type topics, for example, make it easier if you know that you need to perform a task. You just want the steps how to do something. You know to look in a task. Or if you want syntax for a specific command, you're going to be looking in a reference topic. So that makes it easier. Short descriptions are very important too, to help make sure that you don't get misdirected. So your link would show you a brief description of what the topic is all about, so you know what you're getting into before you click through. Okay, so having said all of that, let's see how we can get some of these benefits out of our legacy content. In some cases, we already have some similar functions in the legacy content that we have, and just a straight conversion may actually cause us to lose some of these benefits rather than gain them or keep them. So let's have a look at some content that we've got, and we'll see how we can actually retain these benefits. Okay, so the content I'm going to show you now is something that we've put together that's actually a collection from our documentation for our programming language, OmniMark. So this is the document. You can see it's a short book. We've got just 5 chapters. The first one is copyright. Now that is a shared chapter, so you'll see it's in a different folder. And here is the rest of it. So it's from Desktop Compiler. So as we go through, we will notice things like we've got headings at various levels, and that is pretty standard. And these headings it's all based on basically a standard FrameMaker template. So those things are pretty easy to migrate across into DITA because we know what to expect. This paragraph will probably just come out as a paragraph unless we do something special to it. What we need to notice, though, is that the word OmniMark here is a variable. It's a product name variable. So we are going to want to keep that as, in this case, a key. So that's something that we'll need to be able to do. So we've got some numbered list items here. And we have here, you can see I'm not very good at FrameMaker. We've got a lot of blank space here. We've got a note. So the note, we need to make sure that that does come out as a note. We'll also notice that this note is in fact a text inset. So this is already reused text. So we want to make sure that that remains the case. We want to make sure that we're going to bring this out as a conref. We've got some conditional text that's going to allow us to use this topic without changes in documents that have to do with items that need a port locking and those that don't. So the green will only appear in the port locking ones. We've got some code, as you can see. We've got some bulleted list items, so that should not be a problem to get those out as bulleted lists. We've got some code, so the code is going to come out. We should also note, though, that we have plenty of code phrases but some of them are command line options, or in DITA they are going to be command name. And these are the ones that start with a hyphen. So we should be able to distinguish those as well. So we're going to want these guys to come out as command line options. And here we have a task, and we are fortunate insofar as our steps are clearly identified as steps in the paragraph style in FrameMaker. That certainly makes our life a little bit easier. So here we have what appears at first glance to be a bulleted list. It has the same paragraph style as a bulleted list, but if we look at it a bit more closely, we can see that actually this is a definition list. So this word up until the colon is the term, and what follows is the definition. So we need to be able to bring that across as a definition list as well, and so on and so forth. And we have more of the same. So, okay, can we do all of that? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the output that we have from this particular document. So this is what I've produced from this document. I'm showing it in XML. We have a book map. In our front matter, we've got the topic, which is containing the conrefs, the note. You'll notice that it says resource only in terms of its function. So we're not going to publish this topic. This is just going to be where we go in to grab the conrefs. And there we have our note that we made into a conref. This here is the key map, so that's where our key defs are. And notices has the copyright topic. Then we get into our chapters. So here we've got about desktop compiler, and you can see here we've got OmniMark is now a keyword, so it's resolved against those keys. We look at the DITA here. So it's a keyword, and the key ref is prod name, and that's what we've got in our keys map. So that is working as we would expect it to. Here we just need to make sure we bring this guy, this note. You can see that our note is showing up here now. That is being brought in by conref. So if we look at the DITA here, we can see it's conref to the notes topic that we had produced. And if we go a little further down, we'll see we want to have a look at controlling warnings. So you'll see we've managed to get out our definition list. Here we do still have the bulleted list, so that works also. And you'll see that we've got our command names here from the code that we had. Anything that starts with a hyphen has become a command name. If we look at our generating a license request key, so you'll see that our conditional text has been identified so that we can reuse this topic. And you can see that just by default, all we've done is use other props. We can give this any of the appropriate DITA profiling attributes. Other props is just what comes out by default. Okay, so maybe let's have a look now at how we did all that. So we know what the input looks like. We know what the output looks like. Let's go find out how we get there. Okay, so here I am at the page of Migrate that's going to let me upload the document. So I'm going to upload the document that we were just looking at, and it's going to be a zip file, and the zip file is going to contain all the chapters of the book and the book file itself in MIF format. So I click that, I open, I tell Migrate, this is a FrameMaker book, and upload it. So what Migrate does now is it takes that FrameMaker book that we've uploaded and it creates an intermediate XML file from it. The intermediate XML file is pretty straightforward as far as XML goes. It's only got half a dozen elements, but it does preserve many of the properties, or really all the properties that it finds in the FrameMaker. So it will preserve things like markers and conditions and things like that, so that we'll be able to use those things to help us get the conversion that we want. So it's uploaded and it's analyzed, so you can see that it's finished analyzing, no messages, so we're good. It's the red 49 there is telling me how many of my prepaid credits it's going to cost me to convert this. So I'll just click on the file name, and I'll see that it's counted 49,480 text characters. That's where my 49 credits comes from. Some other statistics, they don't have any bearing on how much it's going to cost me. And I have no messages, so I'm going to say, okay, let's spend 49 credits, and we'll go ahead and we'll convert. So the next thing I need to do is to give this some rules. So I'll choose. You can see I have a whole bunch of rules here, and that's because this is a demo portal, and so I have all the rules for all my different demos here. Let's start with this one to begin with. And I'm going to go to DITA 1.3 with a book map. As you can see, I had many choices of target, because we can customize a target to any requirements. And then I would hit convert and I would get the output that I just showed you. But if I wanted to make changes, or if I just want to see how I got that content, I'm going to show you how I went about making the rules. So I'm going to edit rules here. And here comes the rules editor. It's going to show me, this is a representation of the input based on the intermediate XML file. And it just has enough of the formatting that I can readily see the structure of the document. And over here I have a list of rules and the properties of any element that I select and so on. And down here is where I have the rules that have applied, where I can modify them or add new rules. So because this is using a pretty standard template, many of these things can be easily picked up by my default rule set. So I've got titles. I know they're heading 1. That's going to be the title of a topic. I'm letting Migrate figure out the topic type in this case. So that's going to just work. Bulleted lists will just work. So most of these things will just come out naturally all by themselves. I could convert this document right now and it would come out and you'd be able to publish it so it looks like what it does when you currently publish it. But you'll be missing a few things. One of the things is, yes, this complies with the standard template. The copyright document came from a different template, so it isn't picked up by these rules. So I'll just put in a new rule here. So I've selected copyright, and over here I can see what the style is, and it's #L_legal. So I make a new rule, and I'm going to say if the style is L legal, I'm just going to make it the title. I'm going to make it a reference in this case, because I happen to know it's a reference, because it's legal. And I'm going to put the 0 there. The 0 is just how deeply nested it gets in the map. I'm going to give it a target file name. And this annotation just matches the content of the paragraph that I've selected. And it's going to just replace any spaces or special characters with underscores. It's going to give it a .DITA extension. And then I'm going to put this in the front matter of the document. There we go. And I'm just going to name the rule. So that's done. So that was easy. So we can look at some of the other things that we're going to have to do. And keep in mind as we do these things too, that if they look like they're a lot of work, not to worry, because typically this is the stage of the things that I would be doing for a customer before they got their OmniMark portal. This would already be in place. This is just going to show you how we do it and give you a hint how you could go about making modifications to your rules if you needed to for yourself. So I know that I have this variable and it's variable prod name. So I want to make that variable into a key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this rule so it's going to apply no matter what the particular variable is. All my variables will become keys. So I'm going to say the style matches, and it's this part here that I want to capture. I'm going to name it key and do a dot star so it matches all the characters up until that second set of double hyphens. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put keyref. So I know it's a keyref, and I've got to put a couple arguments in here. Keyref is key, and the href is keys.dita. And like I say, you don't have to know how to do that, because we will do that for you. And then we would save that, and we would get a key there. If we keep going, so we do have an ordered list there, so that's good. Now this is our conditional text, and we don't have to do anything at all to it. Migrate will see that condition and will automatically make the other props with the value of port locking on there. And here's our steps, and because the style is step, we're going to get steps. And because we've marked these as steps, Migrate will know that this topic must be a task. So right now, our standard rules are going to make this into a code phrase. What we actually want is this particular thing, because it starts with the hyphen, to be a command name. So what we can do is now a group of tests. So we can say if the content starts with, and let's make sure we copy exactly the right character. And we're going to say so if it has a hyphen, we're going to make it a command name. Otherwise, we're going to make it code. So that one's pretty straightforward. And these are all the ones that we're going to have. They're all going to come out that way. And now we wanted to look at this and make this into a definition list. Now, I'm going to show you the rule that I have for this. I'm not going to write it here because really enough is enough. We will get pretty bored by that. So let's see. What I've done is I've just modified the bulleted list rule. So this is the original one, and this is the one I've made for this, and I've actually turned it off. And I'll turn it back on now. And you can see that now we're matching the content up to the colon. That part's going to be a term. We're deleting the colon, and that part's going to be the definition. I'm just going to delete the other, or turn off the other one. So now we just save that. We've got good rules, and we can convert, and we're going to get the output that we just saw. So far so good. That's great. Now, what's nice is that, of course, these rules are reusable. So if I have another document that's written on the same template, I can just use these same rules to convert it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose this guy. Just another collection of items about similar things. And upload that guy. And as soon as it's analyzed, we can convert both of these guys. Oh, I have to take the credits first. And give it some rules. And convert. So this should take just a minute or two. Now, one of the things you might have noticed is that we talked about copyright being a shared chapter. And we didn't do anything in the conversion to make that a shared chapter. Now, currently, I don't have a thing that I can do right here in Migrate to take care of that, but I do have something that I can do after I convert it. Eventually, this will be integrated into Migrate. I'm just going to give you a very quick intro to our deduplication process. So this is Optimizer. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload my two documents that I had previously converted. And here they are, two of them together. So what Optimizer does is it takes all of those files and it breaks them all up into the various elements and compares them. So I'm just, for now, just going to show you the easy way that we have to just deduplicate identical topics so that our maps get updated and we only have one version of that copyright topic. So it should take just a second. Okay, so we can see that we've got all of these files here, if we look at the collection details, we'll see that it's broken out by element type, just in the order of which occur most frequently. And I think in this original one I didn't make the copyright a reference. I think I left it as a concept. So I'm just going to analyze these now, and what Optimizer is doing is taking each and every concept and comparing it to each and every other concept. So this takes not all that long, but it does take a minute or two. And what it's going to do is it's going to tell me how close the matches are. And we're going to find some with very close matches and some that are identical. So here we are. So in the green tells me all the ones that are close. And if there's 0 differences, that's when we know they're absolutely identical, like this one, installing and configuring OmniMark. But right now I just want us to find the copyright one. So we should find just 2 instances of it. Here we are. So there's the copyright topic. We know that's identical. We know we want to reuse that. There's plenty of other things in here that we could reuse as well, as we've seen. But just for our purposes now, let's do this one. So this is a topic that I want to replace the exact ones, but I first want to put it into a shared folder. So I'm going to modify its target, and it's going to be copyright.dita, but I'm going to put it in a legal folder. Okay, so now that's done, and I just can go back, and I'm just going to say replace exact. Next thing I can do is I can just go down now and download this. And so what I'm going to get out is exactly what I put in, except that that copyright topic is now going to be in a legal folder. There's going to be one copy of it, and it's going to be referred to by both maps. So that will take just a second or two. Here we are. Click to download. And so we can see that we've got a legal folder here with our copyright in it. And in this folder we have our topics that we put in, our content that we put in. And let's have a look in our map. And you can see this refers to the copyrights.dita in that legal folder. And then we go into our other map and just double check. And we can see that once again it references that folder, that file in that shared folder. And anywhere that we would find that copyrights, we could do the same thing. It's just a quick look at our deduplication functionality that's on its way. Really, what we wanted to point out at this point was that really we can get you this value from your legacy document. And if there's going to be any questions, this would be a great time for them. Whoops. This is what I want. Make this big. Yeah, so the point is we can help you get the benefits of DITA from your legacy documentation, and we can get it for you quite quickly. We would set up the rules for you initially, and from there you could go and convert all the documents in a similar way, and it would all work just fine. And if you needed to make any tweaks to the rules, you have the ability to do so, or we're there to help you if you need. Here's my contact info, and if you are interested in just having a look at how your particular content would come out in a migrate conversion, please feel free to send us a sample. We're happy to convert a small sample for you, show you how it works, and give you the output that you can use for your own testing. So again, thank you very much for being here, and please stay safe.